In every generation of the military, there are people who step into roles no one before them has held. They don't just serve, they represent change. Today we begin with the story of Chaplain Colonel Shabazz, the first Muslim full colonel chaplain in the United States Army. His journey isn't just about faith, it's about identity, service, and what it means to carry the weight of being the first in an institution that often struggles to understand the people it depends on.
Our chaplains are chaplains, not emotional support officers, and we're going to treat them as such. We are going to make the Chaplain Corps great again.
And as the Secretary of Defense calls for reforms to the Chaplains Corps, voices like his suddenly feel more important and more vulnerable than ever. There are people in this world who carry the weight of others, people who step into the darkest moments of someone's life and offer light. In the military, those people are rare, and the ones who try to change the institutions from inside, they're even rarer. This is the story of one of them. Colonel Shabazz didn't come into the world destined for leadership. He came from trauma, chaos, and a childhood that nearly broke him. He was, by his own words,
I was an hour away from suicide.
that moment didn't just change his life. It set him on a path that would eventually make him one of the most influential chaplains in the modern U.S. Army. And when I sat down with him, I recognized something familiar. A man trying to hold on to his humanity inside a system that doesn't always reward it. Over the next 3 episodes, we're going to walk through his journey, from trauma to transformation, from soldier to chaplain, from follower to leader. This is The Making of a Moral Leader, the story of Chaplain Colonel Shabazz. Episode 1. Before Colonel Shabazz even put on a uniform, he was a boy trying to survive a world that didn't care if he made it or not. Tell me something a little bit about where your people come from. Who are your people?
And my people originally come from Chicago, then Alabama, but my father was in the service, so he moved us to Louisiana because he was an Air Force guy, and he was out at Barksdale Air Force Base. Yeah, I think that's Barksdale in Alexandria. So I ended up growing up in Alexandria, but I'm actually from Maine, but I don't want to lose my street credibility.
Yeah. Wait, did you say Alexandria, Louisiana?
Alexandria, Louisiana. Yeah. My father was the Air Force, so he was stationed there. So I grew up in Alexandria.
So what was it like growing up as a teenager?
Oh man, it was horrible, brother. I gotta tell you, man, my story, I tell it probably once a week just to inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my story begins in a bedroom, at 10 years old, being molested by a family friend. And so up until that point, I'm pretty extroverted kid, happy kid, but I didn't know how to deal with some type of molestation, from a authority figure. I didn't want
Yep.
to tell my mom, she's a single parent of 4 kids.
Chaos, violence, instability, a childhood where the adults were fighting their own demons, and he was left to fight his alone.
So that molestation led me to special education in the 8th grade, failed the ninth, 10th, and 12th grade. And I believe the only reason I passed high school is because I was a basketball player. I was a big guy. I'm like 6'5", 275. And so they kind of just pushed me through high school. But I get to college and I don't know how to deal with this molestation thing. And I'm struggling because, like, I'm thinking people are looking at me because of the molestation. So anybody who was looking at me for more than 3 seconds, I just beat the hell out of them, man. I'm not
Yeah,
proud of it.
yeah.
Not proud of it, but that's what happened. And then they got the word out that I was a bully. So I go to a party one night. This is like year 2, year 3 of my college career, and them jokers jumped me. 6 guys jumped me, beat me with a shovel, shot me in the back, and left me on a Texas street for dead. I was an hour away from suicide.
That's not a metaphor. That's a young man standing at the edge of his own life. And then someone stepped in.
I believe in you.
So you had that military seed in you. You knew of its existence, what it does, something about the lifestyle just growing up?
No, not really, because I think that was the tail end of his career. He ended up getting out, and I only knew him as dad who worked at the chicken poultry until him and mom got divorced. And no, I didn't know anything about the military. I got kind of introduced to the military. My sister married an Air Force guy, and she used to always tell me, "That'll be a good little job for you, Michael." She said, "That'll be a good little career for you. You can maybe do that." So that's how I actually got introduced to it.
Okay, so you get in the military.
Yeah.
What's up? How does that happen? And you in the Army too?
Yes. I get in the military in 1991 to 1992. I still don't know how to deal with authority because, all the authority figures in my life let me down. And so from 1991 to 1992, 2 Article 15s, and they're about to put me out the Army, right? I'm only a basketball player, right? I'm only a sports guy, shut up and dribble type guy, right? I'm a jock. But I don't know what work ethic is. I don't know how to socially connect with people. Because you fight on the basketball court, you angry on the basketball court, people praise that because you're a good ball player. I don't know how to not be angry at work. I don't know how to take directions from leaders. I don't know how to do that. And nobody's teaching you, especially in the Army. They just calling you dumbass, shithead, all of those adjectives that you actually believe about yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, that was triggering to me. Like, yeah, I can't be here because I'm going to hurt one of these guys really bad.
How many steps would you say you were from the edge?
Oh, it was over, brother. I mean, I had already had an identified plan. I was an hour away. I was just tired of letting everybody down in my life. It seems like as soon as I take 2 steps forward, something else happened. Like somebody would come in and push my buttons. Cause I mean, I was still raging. I don't care if the guy was NCO, I don't care if it was an officer. You start putting me down, that set off my triggers. And I'm in your face. I don't care. And so that's the couple of times that I got the Article 15s, and they were like, this guy's unfit for the military. So after I got that second Article 15 and I was getting chaptered out, that was over for me. I had already resigned the fact that I was worthless and I didn't need to be here on earth.
So what is your wife thinking when your head is in this space at that time? What's she thinking? What's she saying to you? How's that going?
I'm not sharing that with her. I mean, she was used to me being crazy. So, I mean, it was, she was with me in college seeing me get arrested a couple of times and being drunk all the time. It was just standard data for her. Coming home after being in so much trouble and looking at your kids, man, that's going to make me cry, man. Looking to your wife and kids, man, and thinking that you ain't the right guy, to raise these people, to be a good husband, for me, it was overwhelming. Like, I would prefer to be off the earth to let somebody else do it than me just continuing to mess up their lives.
The Army wasn't gentle, but it was structure. And structure can feel like salvation.
So This guy, Sergeant Major, highest enlisted rank, saw me out there. I was crying, painting rocks and all that kind of stuff they have you doing on extra duty. And, he took me in his office and he said, why don't you just become a better person for your wife and two kids out there who crying because you letting them down. And so I'm 27 at this point, 26, 27. And
Okay.
he tells me 4 words that I've never heard in my life. I believe in you. And I tell you, it resonated so much with me. I said, man, I want to change my life. Right. And so he, took an interest in me and just talked to me as a respectful person. I don't think I was respectable, but he talked to me like a respectful person, mentored me. I could call him when I was having crazy thoughts. And what he doesn't know, before he talked to me, I was an hour away from suicide, right? Because I was a horrible father, even worse husband, and I had so much pain, I was drinking myself to sleep at night. So, that man saved my life on many levels and gave me the confidence to try to do something with my life. Yeah.
Think of the odds, the chance, the impact of just one person or thing diverting you off your course.
I don't know all of the cultural ramifications to becoming Muslim. I don't know the history of the confrontations between America and the Middle. I don't know none of that. I
Right.
just see this guy on the TV screen named Malcolm X.
We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary.
And with an 8th grade education, and I was in special ed in the 8th grade, and he's the strongest man I ever seen. I was like, I don't know who he is, what he is, but I want to be him, right? Right? And so I just kind of emulated him. And so he changed his name to Shabazz. After he came from Mecca, I changed my name to Shabazz. So that was the only tangible example I had.
Faith became purpose, purpose became calling. So, how in the world do you become a chaplain? What's the process? What happens?
Yeah, I'm in the field. I was field artillery. I'm in the field, I just changed my name, just became Muslim, and the commander calls me a piece of excrement, right? He said, you ain't worth nothing, basically. And so I'm in the field, I'm just tore down because I'm thinking I'm trying to change my life and become a better man. I had just converted, I'm sitting on my track and I'm crying. And I see off in the distance, like this chaplain, right? He killed his little candy basket and laughing with people. I was like, God, at this point, if
Mm.
there is a God, right? Please don't let that dude come over and talk to me. Right. So, as God would have it, he comes over to talk to me. And so he's just talking to me about life. And he said, oh man, you're extremely intelligent. Why don't you become a chaplain to help people in trouble like yourself? I was like, oh my God. Like the whole heavens opened up to me. He said, why don't you become a chaplain to help people in trouble like yourself? And he hooked me. I mean, he hooked me. I didn't know the requirements. I didn't think I was smart enough to be an officer and all that kind of stuff. But when he put that idea in my head, I said, I'm going to move heaven and earth to become a chaplain to help people just like me. And that's what I've been doing for 30 years, just helping the downtrodden and the oppressed.
So you just went over to admin and say, "Hey, I want to become a chaplain," and they gave you all the paperwork. They stamped it, and boom, you got commissioned a week later.
No,
And
no.
the what?
I,
What's
I went.
it's
I,
eh,
I did my research. You had this guy down in Fort Polk, Louisiana. So I go to the local mosque. I'm not really thinking about it. And he used to make all of us do sermons or whatever. So it was my turn to do a sermon. I did a sermon. He said, "Man, brother, you kind of eloquent." He said, "I've been trying to be a Muslim chaplain. Do you want to like do that? I was like, oh my God, like this stuff is lining up. It's crazy. Sergeant First Class Ritter, Abdul Ritter. And he says, I'm about to age out. Let me help you become a Muslim chaplain. I was like, bro, this is crazy. This is nuts, because it's all just kind of lining up. So he's the guy who actually helped me through the paperwork, the background check, and all that kind of stuff. So once he did that, I was on my way.
In episode 2, we follow Shabazz into the heart of the institution, where culture, identity, and calling collide.